Good morning. Ooh. Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Miami, and I have the pleasure of welcoming our speakers this morning. So first we have Dr. Solle, who you all know. Her research interests focus on occupational cancer risk and improving cancer screening in underserved communities. She's played a critical role in the conception of the Firefighter Cancer Initiative, studying firefighters' exposure to carcinogens, examining their cancer risk, and developing methods of education about prevention and early detection. Then we have Cynthia Beaver, who's a clinical research coordinator and public health researcher with experience in clinical and behavioral health studies, and she's been working as a part of the Firefighter Cancer Initiative for 4 years. Then we have Dr. Green, who's a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner, double board certified in family medicine and metabolic and nutritional medicine. In her current role with the University of Miami Cancer Center, she is able to apply her clinical experience with the cutting-edge research of the FCI team. And then finally, we have Johanna Garibaldi, and she's a nurse navigator for the UM's Cancer Prevention and Wellness Clinic. She serves as a liaison between patients and doctors to enhance communication and provides excellence in patient care. She comes from an extensive background in emergency medicine, starting as a paramedic with a local fire department and as an emergency room nurse. Without further ado, please welcome our speakers.
Thank you, Hannah. All right. Hi, everyone. All right. So we are going to be talking about education, curriculum, and some new tools that we've created. So to start out with, our objectives for today is to give you guys hands-on experience with different FCI cancer prevention tools, provide you with cancer prevention education resources that you can bring back to your department, and then really have a discussion with you all on identifying the gaps in current educational trainings related to cancer in the fire service and how we can fill those gaps. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our FCI Toolkit. So this came to us this year from our stakeholder meeting. So every year before we start, we always have a stakeholder meeting with leaders in the fire service, really from all over the country, to give us feedback. We tell them about our deliverables that we completed the year prior, what we're looking to do this next year, and then if they have any other suggestions. And so this was one of the main suggestions that came out, was that firefighters wanted something that was easy, accessible, on their phone, easy to use. They said, you guys do all of these projects, you do all of these different things, but we don't really know what's going on and how to access it. So it'd be great if you guys could create some type of toolkit that firefighters can use and they can click on and know where to go, and if they have questions, there's contact information, and what can you guys do? So we created a mobile app toolkit. So if you guys have your phones, I don't know if anyone brought their phones. So we have Apple here and Android there. You guys can download it, or if you want to just go to your app store, you can just type in Firefighter Cancer Initiative. And then we're just going to go through the phone. So I have mine, and we'll go through each section. So our toolkit is broken down. You can see the key elements. We have our FCI overview, which gives us some information on what the Firefighter Cancer Initiative is. Active research projects, which allows firefighters to learn about what some of the projects are, and then they can also enroll in them. So studies that are national studies that are pretty open as far as eligibility criteria, meaning that you have to be a firefighter over 18 and work in the United States. We put on there the active links, so that includes the annual cancer survey, which we discussed yesterday with University of Alabama. And so you're able to share this with your departments. Also, it has our education curriculum and material, so we'll go through that. It has videos, it has downloadable posters, and then we go into more of a clinical piece of cancer diagnosis and what to do. So we'll have a step-by-step plan if you get diagnosed with cancer. Specifically, if you live down here in South Florida, the phone numbers to call as far as our nurse navigation services, what to do next, and then also give some information related to clinic and when you go see your doctor and what are some recommended cancer screenings. We also have resources and FCI collaborators as well as upcoming events. So if you guys have started downloading it and you see it here, this is the first page that comes up. You get a message from us, the the FCI leadership team, as well as an informed consent. So everything we collect is de-identified. We don't collect any identifiable information, but we are keeping the data so we can track it, so we can see how many people are downloading it, how many people are using it. And then we have a brief demographic questionnaire. All questions are voluntary, so if there's some you don't want to answer, you're still able to continue. But this gives us a better idea of, you know, what is the demographic of who's using it. Is it mostly those in the 33 to 40 age? We asked race, ethnicity, but then we also asked, you know, where you live, your department, how long you've been a firefighter, what type of firefighter you've been. And this is open to retirees as well. So we ask if you're active or retired. Then it takes you to the FCI overview. And this is really just tells you all about our team. And it gives you access to contact information. So I know a lot of times firefighters say, you know, I read about your study about the wristbands, but who do I call if I want to do that? So it has it all broken down by project and by investigator. So you're able to click on our name, and it has the email address right there, and you're able to go, and it's right under the type of projects that we're leading. You also have metrics in there, which is a downloadable PDF that gives you a really nice summary of everything we've done in the last 8 years. It's an infographic, so it's pictures, numbers, and you're able to see, you know, basically what Alberto was presenting yesterday, how many people we've seen, what states, what studies we've done. And that's, you know, really important, I think, if you're bringing this to your department and you need to present it either to other members of a committee or leadership and say, you know, this is what they're doing. You know, a lot of times people will email us and say, do you have a summary page or something that I can share to tell what FCI is? And so that is something really easy. And then we also have some participant FAQs on there. So here is what I was mentioning about our active research projects. So we've actually added 3 more on here. These are the 3 that you can enroll in no matter where you live. That includes our annual cancer survey, which I mentioned, our firefighter tumor bank. So that is, we have the only national tumor bank that's for firefighters. So if you were to get diagnosed with cancer, you can donate a piece of your tissue, and then it goes into a bank here that we study tumors that are specific to firefighters. And then also our firefighter cancer survivorship program. So these are all things that anyone can enroll in no matter where they live. We also added 3 more on there that are specific to Florida. So you can't enroll in it, but you can learn about it and then email us and let us know if you want to participate or not. So we didn't put the ability to enroll in those because we can't control if someone clicks on and they don't live in the state of Florida. And then here is, I think, one of our most popular areas, which is our education curriculum and materials. So you have links to our Vimeo videos. These are the ones that we've created related to decon, related to the FAQs of decon. And then we also have YouTube videos, which are our seminars. So we host monthly seminar series where our scientists are providing updates on the different projects they're doing. So if you go on there, you can see the last, I don't know, I guess 2-3 years of seminars that we've done that you say, you know, I want to learn more about PFAS. I wonder if they've done a presentation on it. And I'm sure you can go in there and look. And, well, I know for a fact there are presentations on PFAS in there. So just more resources for you to have. And then all of these downloadable resources, we've created these one-pagers that are really, I don't want to say pretty, but they are. They're very nice pictures, bullet points to get people's attention. And we've based it all on the top cancers that firefighters are diagnosed with, and for you to share that. And so besides the cancers, we've also introduced educational materials for healthy diet, body weight, physical activity, as well as alcohol consumption. And so you're able to download these, you're able to print them out, or you can just download them and send them out through your department so people can have them. Moving on to our more clinical area is the cancer diagnoses. So we have FCI nurse navigation services. So again, that's really specific to our Florida firefighters who are down here with the phone number to Johanna. who to call and how we can get you set up with a doctor. But I don't want to limit to Florida, because if you're somewhere else and you have questions about what should I do, even if you live in a different state, always feel free to call us. We can just give you at least a step-by-step of what we do here, so we can at least put you on the right track in a different state.
Can you give me an idea about, so how long has the nurse navigation services been around, and what's the utilization like? Like, how many people have you helped?
So the whole concept of navigation really has been around for a long time. It has a new title now because now it's an actual certification, right? So more and more cancer centers are adopting navigators because they're like the forefront. They're like the one contact person to help patients. I started with FCI about 4 years ago, and my main role is to help firefighters. And unfortunately, I probably have dealt with around 200 firefighters, more or less, where they needed some sort of like connection to cancer physicians for treatment because they had a tumor that was possibly diagnosed. So it's an alarming high number, right? For the 4 years, I would have wanted to answer like maybe 5 or 10, but yeah, it's a big number.
And typically, how soon from the diagnosis do you get involved?
Usually, the way that it's worked is there's 2 ways. One, they had a physical somewhere, there's something that came up, they don't know what to do. Usually what happens is most of the times there's a safety officer in the department that's familiar with us, or somebody in the department knows somebody at UM, or, then the information comes to me, and we make things happen really quickly. Like I'm a very pushy person when I need to be, but usually, especially for our firefighters, like people do bend over backwards for firefighters, they really want to help. So depending on the situation, right, like do they need additional testing? That would be the only thing that kind of delays, right, the process is, do we need to start from scratch and work you up from the beginning, or do you already have all the tools that the doctor all has to do is sit there, read the results, and know, okay, this is what we're doing. So it all kind of depends. But usually, yeah, depending on where you are, it goes through either the health and safety officer, the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. A lot of times they reach out to them and say, hey, look, we have a guy that's been diagnosed. We don't know where to go. Keith Tyson and I have like a very close relationship because of that. The Florida Safety and Health Collaborative also reaches out to us. So they just come from different areas.
And career and non-career both are
Yeah. Career, volunteer, fire investigators. Retirees, yeah, definitely.
And I want to say a quick comment. I've been in the field so many times recruiting participants for studies, and they tell me that they just like to get checked out. Like they don't actually have a diagnosis, but they're really interested in checking themselves out. This happens all the time. And so it's really nice to have Jill because she knows exactly where to send them for screening as well.
Yeah.
that works with insurance and is covered.
Correct. Yeah, and the university as a health system, we have contracts with most commercial insurances. The only time when it's a problem is when the insurance, like I had a case from someone that lived up in the Panhandle, their insurance was like strictly for that area and they couldn't go anywhere else. So, there's those moments, but like, Dr. Solle said, a lot of times firefighters don't know where to go, they don't know what to do. So usually I have a conversation and I say, hey, look, this is what we normally do here. Maybe you can call and get someone there. Maybe this is who you should see. This is what they need to be asking you. This is what you need to be doing, just because there's standard things that we need to do before.
I'm up in the northeast of Florida, so you guys will help out up there too, or?
So we can, like I said, we can guide. Obviously, we are always welcome. We've had people come down from Central Florida to get a second opinion at Miami. So we definitely make it happen. Now telehealth is a thing, so as long as you're in the state of Florida, it makes it a little bit easier because our physicians will be willing to give you a second opinion. But even so, again, usually my way of going about it is if I cannot help you within here, usually the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, hey, do we have a contact over there? Who do we know? And that's usually, the partnership on how it goes.
Yeah, and just to add, in addition to what Joe was saying, the 200 that she gets, that it may be something abnormal that wants to get checked out. We also have firefighters who are just here, that come to us for, I need to get a colonoscopy. My wife said I have to get one. Where do I go? What do I do? Kind of thing. And so we were able to schedule that for them. And our Cancer Center director, he has put all firefighters on a VIP list so we can get them in as quick as possible. So we always tell them, call the scheduling line, make your appointment. They're going to tell you they can see you in a month. That's fine. We'll go on the back end, and then we move them up, and we get to see them within a week. So we're very lucky that our Cancer Center director has put that flag for us. So within here, you can also see we've actually separated this out in the new version of the app that you have now. So again, it's a downloadable file. Symptoms to report to your healthcare provider. Also recommended cancer screenings for firefighters, and that's based on NFPA standards as well as national guidelines. And then moving on is our resources and FCI collaborators. So again, many of the organizations and the sponsors you see outside that we work very closely with, as far as FCSN, the Safety and Health Collaborative, UCF Restores, which is mental health. So it's just another easy way, if someone's looking for what else is out there, it's all on one page. You see there is our 30 In, 30 Out podcast with Director Rice that you're able to access, as well as, again, we have monthly newsletters that go out that just give updates on like what we've been doing, what's in the field, and they're all there. So you're able to see those, as well as our website. You're able to go on the website. And then lastly we have is our upcoming events. So obviously you can see here, the big one was the Symposium, but you're here. So now we'll be updating it on a regular basis with other events that we'll be hosting or places where members of our team are presenting, which is important because maybe someone said, I didn't know you were in Jacksonville, I would have went. So it'll be a really good spot that people can see that. And then the other thing that we are working on with the app is having push notifications. So, just like you get a notification on the other apps that you have on your phone, it will say like, it's October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, make sure you get your mammogram. It's November, it's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, make sure you are seeing your doctor, things like that. And then we'll be adding other little things to it just to keep firefighters engaged and using the system. Okay, and so then the next thing, so this is what we're testing out now, like you are getting it hot off the press as far as the mobile app that was just created. And now we're working and brainstorming on actually putting together a physical toolkit that we can distribute to all the fire stations. Very similar to how we did the green buckets, which is for decon. But this is, all the tools they would need for cancer prevention education and really to start that conversation at the station level, because a lot of times we hear, I hear they're doing stuff, but I don't really know what's going on. So it would be great to have it at every station. And that would include, again, the screening guides to take to your doctor's appointment. So there would be multiple copies for everyone that works at that station. They can take it, have their copy, as well as, if they have the online app, they can download it. We want to put in some healthy recipe cards of, creating large meals that are healthy for the fire station, sunscreen wipes, all of the posters that I told you are downloadable. We're going to print some out and notate on there the months. So again, breast cancer month, prostate, cervical, colorectal, and then whoever is, hopefully taking the lead on this in their station, they put them up around the stations. We'll also have an FCI nurse navigation info magnet. So where do firefighters look? All the time on the fridge. So we want to put a big magnet there with our phone number. So if they have any questions about anything related to seeing and it doesn't even have to be cancer related. A lot of times they come to us and just say like, I'm supposed to see a cardiologist. I don't know where to go. Can you help? So any type of health navigation that they need. We're also creating some door hangers for all the showers in the stations for testicular and breast self-exam. So just to, be that reminder, as well as posters for shower within the hour. And so, yeah, so this is something that is in our future directions. We're starting to pull these things together that we want to pilot test and see how the physical toolkit rollout would be. We're also adding to the mobile app a modifiable risk factor section, so related to nutrition, sleep, and exercise. And so, yeah, so that's where we are with the toolkit. So I will hand it over now to Aimee Green. She is going to talk to you about our education curriculum.
All right, good morning, guys. So to piggyback off of she said, so this is another resource that we have that's already been up and running for a couple years, but we like to kind of remind you of everything that you have at your fingertips. So this is our FCI education curriculum. So the goal of the curriculum is to increase firefighter knowledge and awareness about cancer risks. So you guys are here, you're kind of at the forefront, you know, and now your job is kind of like, oh my God, how do I bring back all this stuff that I've learned to my department? So we make it really easy for you because there's an online portal that already has a lot of the things that you've probably learned about over the course of the weekend on an online platform that anyone can use. So it's just to highlight some of the features. It's online, it's self-guided, and then I'll go through the modules. So this is what it looks like. So basically, this is the website. So if you want to take a picture or scan the QR code, you can go ahead and do that. That's going to take you to the main sign-up page. So you just put, you know, you have to go to the section to register with, you know, brief information, your and then create your login with your email. Once you do that, you'll go ahead and see this screen. So there's the two different options. It's survivorship or cancer education. So we want to go ahead and select cancer education. Survivorship is for our survivorship project, which is also if you know anyone that is a cancer survivor or is going through treatment, that's the link for them. But for this, what I'm talking about, it's the cancer education. And then once you go ahead and click all that, it's going to take you to the main screen, which is the learning objectives. So these are the learning objectives. Basically, it's self-guided, so it's kind of similar to like a PowerPoint, but very interactive. So there's some of the slides where they'll be able to like click on, like I know there's one like on furniture, like, you know, what, I'm going to click on the sofa, what kind of chemicals, when a sofa is burning, what are you exposed to? So it's interactive like that. And then there's a voiceover piece that we've added so that basically they're able to hear us while they're clicking through the slides. And then there's little mini like 1 to 2 questions after each module just to kind of refresh their memory. There's a mechanism for CEUs to be able to be awarded if that's something that you guys do monthly or quarterly education for your firefighters, if that's something you want to incorporate. And it is, we are able to collaborate with you to be able to get it onto whatever online platform, Target Solutions, or whatever you may use, okay? These are the modules. So module 1 is cancer in the fire service. This is going to go through all the studies, right? So both recent and, you know, basically like the foundational studies on cancer in the fire service. This does get updated because obviously new research comes out all the time. So we did update it with just recently with the newest IARC recommendations, which you guys heard about yesterday, and also things like the Metro Fire Chief's statement about PFAS. So this is something that gets updated as new things come out. Module 2 goes through that firefighter occupational cancer risk. So that's kind of like the ones where I was telling you what chemicals are you exposed to so that they're aware. And then the good news in Module 3 is how can we mitigate that risk? So Module 3 has 2 parts to it. It's what can you do on the job, decontamination, clean cab, all those things that you guys already learned about. And then the second piece is the lifestyle factors. So what can they do day to day to stay healthy? Like what should I be putting in my mouth, right? Like what should I be eating? How often should I be exercising? You know, should I go vegan? Should I go paleo? Should I go keto? Like, so all of these things, should I do a juice cleanse? All those questions we go through because those are questions we get from the firefighters all the time. And then in Module 4, it's organizational level, so more of like what has been shown to, at an organizational level, make an impact on cancer in the fire service, which are things related to health policy, having a health and safety officer, things like that. And then lastly, ongoing learning resources, which is similar to some of the resources you'd find on the app. We also have an option for doing this in person. So we just did it in person at one of our local fire departments, and this was a hands-on cooking demo that we were able to do to kind of just show them, right? You can have your barbecue, but let's pair it with a nice salad. We have some people that can speak from experience here, so it's really fun because you guys food in the fire service is like a whole culture thing. So just being able to get in there and cook with them is fun. And then future directions. So we want to assess basically like before and after of the education curriculum and make sure that basically like there's a change, right? That they come in knowing something and then they leave knowing more than when they came in. So if you have any questions, we'll take them at the end. I'll hand it over to Cynthia. She's going to talk about another one of our resources, which is our green buckets.
Thank you, Aimee, and hi, everyone. So yes, I'm going to talk about the green buckets today. We did a study in partnership with the state of Florida, the Marshal's Office, and what we did a few years ago was we distributed green buckets throughout the state of Florida to the fire department so that they would, to encourage decontamination of the gear. And again, this is to, mitigate some of those risks with all those carcinogens. So for this study, again, we sent out a survey, an anonymous survey, to 118, to the Florida fire departments, and we got back 118 surveys back. The way we analyzed it is we took a mixed method approach where we had some qualitative data and quantitative data. So again, we looked at all the answers and calculated frequencies, and we also had some open-ended questions. So for the results, we have here in percentages, career firefighters are the ones who received the survey most of the time. Some of them did not answer, and we had some career and volunteer departments. So for the decon bucket use, so most of the fire departments always used it. That's 69%, which is really good. And then sometimes 27% of them responded that they only use it sometimes, and only 2% said, "Oh, we don't use it anymore," which is good, right? Because we want most of the people using the decon buckets. So when we asked them, well, how easy is it to do the 7-step decon process? So 32% said very easy, and 56.8% said somewhat easy. So it's between the very easy and somewhat easy, which again is good. Some of them, very small percent found it difficult, and some of them didn't answer. More about the surveys. Most of them, 73%, said, oh, it takes less than 15 minutes to complete the 7-step decon process. Again, this is good. It's not taking too much of their time. 69% were very satisfied with the overall use, and 79% said, yes, I would recommend this to my colleague. So the qualitative piece, when we were asking them, oh, what do you think about this? What were the issues or the roadblocks to using the decon buckets? They said, well, there's funding issues, there's lack of buy-in, or sometimes firefighters think, well, I'm not dirty enough, I don't need to do this. But we clearly know that it's necessary, right, to prevent cancer. In conclusion, so the majority of departments are using it, which is great. It takes not very much time, 15 minutes or less, according to what they responded. And again, we want to encourage to keep using the buckets because, of course, this is going to protect them. And we want to continue doing education, so that people are encouraged to use the buckets. And that's all I have. I'm going to turn it to Joe.
Alrighty, so last and not least, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the PERAP. So FYI, I'm super intense about this. A reason why. So our personal exposure reporter is, as its name says, a personal exposure reporter, right? So you keep track of your exposures. So feel free to scan the QR code. It's a free download on Apple or Android. And basically, this was also feedback from you guys, right? We wanted to keep track of what was happening, how many times were we going on fires, things like that. So for us, it's science, but for you, it's a tool to keep track of your exposures, right? So for us, the moment that you download it, there's a consent form, right? So it tells you, hey, look, you're participating in this project. Basically, you're sharing information with us. We are the only people that see the data. Everything that you, with any of our projects, anytime that you participate, all the information is confidential. Everything gets de-identified, which means that the moment that you sign the consent giving us permission, you turn into a number, and that's all we get, right? So the good thing about this is the more information you put in there, then the better we can pick out topics and trends that we're seeing. For instance, this on-scene decontamination. All right, yeah, the surveys were great, but let's talk to the real people on the field. How much time are you spending on decontamination? And so that's what the PERAP does. One of the things that I like to emphasize about the PERAP is that, we're very good at going back to the stations and documenting what we did in fires. We had a rescue call. We have to document it because, 5 years down the line, you're going to get subpoenaed and whatever's on that piece of paper is going to be your brain, right? So if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. So as you know, my other role is to coordinate care for firefighters that have been diagnosed with cancer. And I always tell them, and this is why I'm super intense about this, I airdrop this to people when they have Apple. So I give them no choice to go in there and at least look at it. But it's because it's the way to, keep track, cover your behind, keep track of your exposures, right? The good thing about this is, your department keeps track of how long you've been there, right? So yeah, I've been a firefighter for Miami-Dade County Fire Rescue for, 15 years. How many fires have you been into? Well, somebody's gonna sit there and pull out the logs, but that's not gonna tell me what was your position, how much time were you in there? Did you have to go in a second time? Did you go to rehab? Did you do decontaminations? Hey, did you have a headache? Things like that, right? So all that stuff you are keeping track of. And God forbid something happens in the future, it's your documentation that, I was in 750 fires, 75 of those, I was at the nozzle and this happened and blah, blah, blah. So it's a way of keeping track of your exposures. So I like to emphasize the whole privacy issue just because a lot of the hesitation that we get from the firefighters is that, right? But are you going to share this with my union, my department? Are they going to find out that I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to, or that maybe I'm using tobacco and I'm not supposed to? We don't. It's information for us to use. And obviously, at the end of the day, it's for you guys to keep track of your exposures. I love to push this specifically on bugles, gold badges, leaders, right? Because we want to lead by example. So if you can get your rookies to download this and do this, then it's a start, right? Maybe we've already been in the field for 10, 15 years. There's already a ton of exposures that we didn't track. But the new guys that are going to be doing this forever, they are the ones that, really have to keep track of your exposures. The other thing that I wanted to add as well here is that when you do download this, please use your personal email. As you know, your work email is public record. They don't need to know your business. And then today you're at this department, tomorrow you get hired by somebody else. You get to take this information with you, okay? So this is what it looks like more or less. You can create reports. There's a dashboard that tells you how many you've submitted. All of the information is there. And then we have subgroups, right? Because not all firefighters are made equal. So we have fire investigators. We have things that are very specific for to the type of fire, right? Was it a structure fire? Was it a dumpster fire, car fire? And then we've added new information for now that we have a lot of Teslas and, we have this lithium-ion electric cars, then we have information in there as well. The other neat thing that we got and the feedback that we received from you guys is you wanted to be able to document accidents and near misses because, again, it's your way of keeping track of your own stuff, right? Because let's not rely on everybody else, what everybody else is doing for you. This is where you would document all of this stuff. And again, you can do reports. We partner up with the IAAI to come up with a survey that it's on there so that you document all the stuff properly. And then again, you can create your report and have it there as well. So this is the website. Please take a second. I'm happy to airdrop to whoever needs it. Feel free to share. This information is free. There are other services out there that charge people to keep track of their stuff. And again, you're really contributing to science so that we can continue to see what else can we do, right? As long as cancer is still here, we're going to be around. We have to figure out ways, but we can't do it without you guys. So any questions?
So this is information, you said it's anonymous, but this is information that we can go back and look into later?
For you, yeah. So it's your own tracker, if you will. Yeah. It's just that we manage the app, we manage the data, right? So we get whatever you're putting in there, but we know participant 375 put in a fire today. That's all we get. But everything else, yeah, it's for you to keep track of your own exposures.
So if we need it in the future, let's say we gotta put in a claim,
Yeah,
we can access?
you have access to it. Yep, and you can.
Print out your PDF.
Yep.
Anytime you want. If you want to do it every year and you have your file of everything you've done each year, and that's what's great. It's with you. And the other thing that someone brought up that I thought was a really good point was because people say, well, they do reports after a large incident, and I was on it. And someone said but you're not always there could always be a mistake. Maybe you covered for someone that day, that shift, so your name's not on there. It's always good just to have your own back. Make sure you're covered.
Two questions. How does your state's workers' comp feel about all this? Tracking and documenting, right? Because that's going to help with claims, and sometimes they're not receptive to that. And then number two, is there thoughts about adding traumatic incident reporting on there too? So you can track you went to the horrible whatever.
Yeah, so the workers' comp question, the first question, honestly, I don't know what they think about it. I mean, no one's ever said anything to us about it. I mean, it's a personal reporting system. If it's theirs, they can keep it. So we've never heard any pushback from workers' comp. As far as the traumatic, I think that's a really good point. It's been brought up before. So the last class asked why did we add investigators? Why do we add the near misses? And that was all from firefighter feedback. And so we've gotten the feedback as well to add mental health. And it's something we've decided not to do just because, we have the responsibility if someone is having suicidal thoughts, something, it needs to be, accessed or, managed 24/7 by someone in case, something happens, and we don't have that capability. But I think, at least reporting a traumatic event, not necessarily having symptoms, is a really good point to put in there. Right.
Yeah.
Traumatic.
Yeah, we have the Surfside collapse. That would have been a good incident to put in there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Who can we talk to about adding the training to Target Solutions?
You can talk to us. So we'll get with you on it, and it's really, I guess, for us to just understand what you need from us, Target Solutions wise. Do we just send it to you as a website? I think we just have to talk to Target Solutions to see how to do it, because right now we have it as a website, but I know for Target Solutions it would probably have to be just slides, so we can just share those with you.
I just had a comment about the gentleman's last question. We have a member that just got diagnosed with brain tumor. He's like 29 years old, been on the service for 5 years. But he has over 50 pages. We have a very similar application for his reporting. We're from California. But he was able to print that up, and it was ammo for him and his lawyer, and workers' comp accepted everything. So it was great data, and he was able to, it's an identical app, but it really helped his case.
Yeah, I was only asking about the workers' comp thing because in Minnesota they take a very, militant position against any firefighter claims, basically for anything.
And remember, Florida's different. That the cancer presumption, they don't go through workers' comp.
Right.
Yeah.
So that may be a reason. Sorry.
Right, and also they can, I mean, they can always check, right? So because your department, like what I was saying, most of the times you keep track of how long someone's been employed, and I'm sure there's a way that you can go back and say, okay, well, firefighter Diaz was in, and, these many incidents. You can probably go back and backtrack it because you keep track of who's on engine 52 and blah, 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 right? So you can kind of match whatever the firefighter has. So it's kind of like, okay, well, here you go. But if you want to do the search, by all means, but you can compare, and it should be matching data because there's an incident, there's a call number, there's a scene information. So,
And the other thing is, when we created this, we worked very closely with firefighters. It was Dr. Barbara Millay that did this, where she sat with firefighters. I mean, it was a very long process to make sure that it was user-friendly. So you're really not typing in a lot of things. It's just clicking. And she also, just making sure that the terminology was correct, because we're not firefighters, so we don't want to sound, bad and it doesn't make sense. I'm like, what are they even talking about? So this was very much driven by firefighters.
And it is available nationally, so anyone that wants to use it. It's not only for Florida firefighters.
Just one more thing, with the FCI app, is there any flow chart under the what to do in terms of, or is it just all start with that phone call?
So a flow chart is coming. The gentleman who makes all of our pretty designs, he was not able to do it in time. But, the app will get updated and you'll get the updates.
but the phone call works just as well in the meantime.
Another thing, sometimes it's easier for somebody to just look at it and go like, okay, this is the steps.
That's exactly what we thought.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, we are at exactly 10:10. So you guys are heading to,
Oh, yeah.
thank you. So just like you did in your last session, hopefully. Where were you? Mental health? Alex Stewart, get on him. So please complete. Please complete the evaluations for each of the workshops you go to, just to help us, create better content each year for you all.
So was this toolkit?
Yes, this is education toolkit.
That actually brings a good point, and to the target solutions, sites that we can go back to the station or even load into our own target solutions.
On how to
Where it has
download?
all the QR codes already.
Okay,
That'd be great.
okay,
could
we can
actually
do that.
and-
That's easy. Because, I'd love for you guys to share, especially the toolkit, because it's just something they can have on their phone. It's easy.
Right.
And no one knows when, they're going to get bad news. And so if they have it at their fingertips already and they don't have to worry about who do I ask and do I have to ask, my captain or, it's a very stressful time. So the more people know and they know, oh, I have to call that fire number, that'd be great. So please share. And thank you guys so much.